Hello and welcome to Emerging Aurora's Off the Cuff, the podcast that brings you the inspiring stories behind the local businesses driving our community forward. I'm your host, Vern Cunningham, and we will be speaking to one of Aurora's newest employers and an enterprise that assists companies to flourish in today's high-tech environment. This podcast is for those who want to know more about our local entrepreneurs and want to know what makes our economy so vibrant. Our guest today is Garry Lee, the founding president of Megalab in Aurora. Welcome, Garry.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you.
We'll get rid of the beginning there.
Okay.
Now, let's start with your story. I know a little bit of your background, but what's the background of Megalab in Aurora and how has the town shaped your journey?
Let me start with, Ron, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today at, City of Aurora. I guess the story started back a few years ago. This is back in 2018. I've been doing testing for the last 25, 30 years now in a certification in testing industries. Mm-hmm. There was always that missing link about, how can Canada offer an all-inclusive testing solutions for Canadian technologies? If you look right across from east to west, we have labs who are with limited capabilities. And so the idea about the concept of Megalab was that let's put it together in one house that serves the Canadian industries, in particular the high-tech industries. So it was a concept that we talked about it back in 2018, but it didn't really come to fruition until later that year. I decided, let's do it, commitment of money, and of course, establish a facility for this. The Megalab idea was all-inclusive. That means in the product safety testing, such as CSA and UL, the EMC, EMI, and of course, environmental testing. So putting that together, it's not been done before by the Canadian testing industries. Most of the labs in Canada are very fragmented. They specialize in one sectors, but not all-inclusive. So that's why the idea and concept came about. You mentioned about location Aurora. Well, how did it came about? As you can imagine, a Megalab needs a facility, Ron, and getting a facility built for this size, it's difficult.
Yes.
Most real estates are developed in such a way to service industrial applications and office and applications. But putting a lab, you need high ceiling, like a 34 feet tall, to contain the EMC chamber. So we had to look around, and Aurora was a great place. It was suitable. When we discovered Addison Hall Circle, I was pleasantly surprised that this was on the market. So here we are. We're in Aurora. Loved it. Loved the community.
Well, good. Well, we love you. So from what I understand, I was at an open house that Emerging Aurora had at your place, I guess about a year and a half ago, somewhere around there.
Correct.
Beautiful facility.
Thank you.
I know what you mean. When I had my business and I was selling stuff to Europe, we needed EMC testing. And the only place I could get it done at that point was at in Kitchener, Ontario.
Yes, the Electro Homes.
Yeah, the old Electro Home facility, because they had all the facilities. But even then, the problem with that is they test it, but they don't give you solutions. And we need solutions. I mean, we want to pass the test, but this trial and error business is crazy.
Yeah. There was a limitation back in the olden days, Ron, when you were developing products, and unfortunately, the testing industry, we always seem to be lagging, part of the global certification, what we call the TIC industry. We have not been a pioneer in testing service industry. We always lag behind other countries. So, Megalab's trying to change that. We're trying to lead some of the technology, lead some of the testing. So I'm not surprised back in the olden days you couldn't get the answers you're looking for because we just didn't have the know-how, nor the services that's out there now today. So, that's not a surprise.
But even it was problematic for a lot of other reasons too, Garry. It was problematic because when we first started, the certification required the components and where they came from, and the components becoming CSA certified as well.
Yes.
And we get a control board that had a P&B relay in it, but that's the only one we could use. And so we couldn't use competitors' relays unless they were tested with it. And it was just horrible because, as you know, multiple sourcing for manufacturing companies is the only way to do it, because if you can't get product A, you want to go to product B.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad that you're doing it the right way now.
We're trying to give the high-tech industry more options to work with. A solution is just not a one way to do things. A solution is multiple ways now that we could enlighten our customers that there are many ways to solve the problem. But in order for us to find the solutions, you need a tool to investigate and test, and that's what we offer. And we're giving them options to find different solutions for the problem, and by giving the right tools to work with.
Do you certify or do you just test?
I do both. So Megalab does mainly, our objective is testing. However, I work with the certification bodies such as the Intertech.
Okay, I know Intertech.
Yeah, so they would help and assist in getting a certification approval. So we want to maintain a certain arm's length at this point in time, because once you become a certification body, it's hard for you to consult and provide solutions.
Yes.
Because they are the TIC body, the TIC body. And for them to go the extra mile in consultation, it gets into gray zone. However, in the testing lab, we could do all the consultation, all the prototyping, developments, and troubleshooting as much as the client's needs are. So we have a lot of flexibility with that one.
Yeah, and then will Intertech accept your test results then?
Yes, we have.
Okay, so that's win-win for everybody.
It's a win-win for the community. And it's good for the community themselves, obviously, because now we have solution locally, right? At the mercy of one certification body or two, right? We have multiple choices now, and people want choices on.
Yeah. Well, they have to do it because if some organizations are easier to work with than others, as you can imagine, as certification labs, and it's all people. And when I dealt with Intertech, they were very easy to deal with, very accommodating. They weren't, they didn't have attitudes like some of the UL engineers had and so on. So it was good. I enjoyed Intertech.
Yeah, we have no issue working with the Intertech folks. It's an awesome relationship so far.
Yes, well, good. I hope it keeps up that way.
Yeah, me too.
So how many employees do you currently have at Megalab?
We currently have 25 professionals, 25 full-time employees, range from mechanical and electrical engineers. We also have a couple of master and a PhD as well. So all type of disciplines. It's an awesome workforce that I am involved with.
Well, that's good. You need all those elements. Anything you have has links in the chain. If you're missing one link, you don't have a chain, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm glad to see that you've done that too. Now, do you help companies to develop products, or do you just take a product and test it to a standard and tell them you don't meet it, correct it this way, or look at correcting it that way?
We like to think, because we're smaller organizations, we're part of the SME community, we like to provide solutions rather than larger corporations where time and money is more important than customer relationships. I think I could contribute by offering consultations and help the client. In return, to be honest with you, in order for me to succeed the last 25 years in running my own private lab, you have to build a relationship with the people. So therefore, the extra mile that you go for the client, that translate back into loyalty and, of course, continuity of the business. So, we go the extra mile to help them out, and we help the client find solution to a problem should they have a failure. We don't want to leave the client high and dry. There's limitation what we could do.
Of course.
And we will, as I promised, there's no saying that in Megalab, we will 100% guarantee services, but we cannot 100% guarantee pass. So, we'll work with you if you want to work with us. I'm sure there's a solution for every problem out there in this world. And as long as the client's willing to work with us, we will go the extra mile to help them out as well.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
That's our attitude.
Well, that's a good attitude to have, because I know that when you start off with a new product, and you look at the specifications, you try to design for the specifications, but you don't always know about something you don't know about.
No.
And then that's why someone like yourself is beneficial because you've done work with multiple companies, so you've come across all the problems that may occur.
Yeah, no, our team is awesome. We have a very highly educated professional team behind me. So they have seen so many different scenarios and variations. For them to offer that friendly advice, it's just no brainer for them. They do make my job look easy by offering solution to the client. Yeah. And I often encourage our staff, work with the client. You do understand, we're in the testing business. We got the easy job. It's the individual on the other side. They have to make sure the product complies. And as you said it, how do you design a product on a piece of paper and a computer? In theory, it should work the way you want it to work. It should comply with the way it should comply. But in the real practical world, things happen. There's RF noise that you didn't foresee that coming. And there's component selection that's failing due to thermal stress or dielectric breakdown or leakage current value too high. Those you couldn't have seen that until you walk the street. And then you will realize that it's not even. It's got cracks and holes all over it. So what we do is that, using our experience, we're trying to help the client. Listen, if, for example, your conductor emission noise is too high, we could clamp it with a ferrite choke.
Yes.
There are tricks to this thing, and so we offer that solutions, and I think the customer will welcome that.
I think our biggest problem was the static environment.
Oh, yes.
That was really difficult because a lot of times when you're designing it and testing it, if you don't have the static present, you don't know that that's going to be a problem until you put it in the product and you start testing it close to a high-speed motor and then things go wrong.
Well, that's it. A product itself, and when you design it, like I said, in a piece of paper or a computer, you don't see the inherent noise or the external noise outside. If your machine's next to a motor and you got RF generated from the motor, it's going to affect your performance.
Yes.
You're talking about sensitive medical equipment, for example. It takes small signals to read your vital signs. Those signals so minute. That could come from anywhere, Ron. Could come from ESD. Could be some transient from the line. Could be from the motor nearby. I mean, all that. It's the real world. Right?
We've lived all through those.
Yes.
Well, the problem we had too is dust. Yeah. When we were making controls for central vacuums, it's a dusty environment.
Oh, yes.
So you get dust on a printed circuit board.
Yep.
And if you get a high humidity environment, now you can get tracking between the traces on the board. And that's a no-no.
Definitely a no-no, Ron. That's what we call CTI, tracking index. Tracking index is important in dielectric strength. You're absolutely right. If you got a high dusty environment with moisture on it, you will reduce that spacing between, let's say, the live voltage and the secondary self voltage. That could have a detriment to your dielectric strength testing.
That's why we did conformal coating on the boards, just to eliminate that issue. But anyway, it wasn't as bad an issue generally as I thought it would be, but that doesn't matter. Okay, so it's nice to be able to speak to someone when you know a little bit about what they do. Very helpful.
And it's nice to speak to someone like yourself actually at the receiving end, at the development side. So you know exactly what we do here as well at Megalab.
And as I said, it was always challenging for us when we were designing products because we had a design engineer, but he was also doing the manufacturing. So he had an interest in making sure that it was done so that he could manufacture it, which is really important.
Of course.
But when it got to higher level problems, he didn't have the equipment to give us the diagnostics that we needed, which is fine. I don't begrudge him for that. You can't have everything. You can't be a lab as well as a manufacturer as well as a designer.
No, it's hard. Most of manufacturers focus on manufacturing products and producing a product.
Yeah.
You guys operating a certain budget and certain time frame, you just don't have the time nor the budget to go and spend on a lab, and that's not a common practice. Just give you an idea. Building a lab like what we have done, Megalab, you're looking at close to $10 million.
Yeah.
So from a production point of view, you're not going to spend that kind of money on testing. It's just not.
Yeah, because you don't use it as a manufacturer. No. You may use it 3 weeks of the year. Like the EMI testing is bing, bing, it's done. So
right.
you only have it when you're doing stuff for export, unless they've changed the requirements.
Yeah.
But
No, manufacturing focus on manufacturing. The testing lab we focus on the testing. We all have our own lane. It wouldn't make sense for us to get into this side of the field because we wouldn't know what to do with the production line.
Yeah.
And vice versa, you wouldn't know what to do with the testing lab if I give it to you. Right? It's the know-how and of course equipment availability. So.
Yeah, and getting someone independent to do it too.
Oh yeah,
not a government agency or a quasi-government.
And that's another one. And we adhere to a certain guideline. And Megalab is an ISO 17025 credit lab. So therefore, you have to maintain a certain process that most production manufacturers would never follow because that's not their business. That's not their line of production. So a lab operates so different from a design or manufacturing point of view. So it's just two different businesses.
Okay, can you take us through the process that happens if someone comes into your building and tells you a problem? How do you go about it?
If they have a problem, we would probably start with the coffee because let's start with the coffee. Obviously the customers would know their problem better than we do. They inherit the problem. So if we identify what the problem is, we could center around that and work around that for the client. So if that's the case, it's a much easier target to hit. It's just it's the other part where the client comes in with no idea what the problem is. Then we have to go into the full spectrums of pre-testing to get some results back.
Yeah, to find out where the issue is.
Yeah, it's no different from a doctor. When you go see him, the first thing you're going to do is get some blood tests, blood work first, and then you find out what the problem is, and then you target the problem. Same with us. We would help the clients. So listen, let's do a preliminary pre-scan. Just get an idea what that is. If that's if that seems to be the problem over here, then we're focused on that. But communication, I think, is the first step with the customers. Let's hear them out and let's understand the problem.
Yeah, and you're right, though, is that sometimes you have a headache, but that's caused because of a pinched nerve, or because of something you're consuming. So you're right. You've got to take it in baby steps before you can offer a solution. Yeah. But it's interesting. Now, EMI testing, it's something close to my heart because that was always a challenge at the best of times. Do you have different chokes in your facility where you can play with the circuitry a little bit to see what will work? We do. And we're quite proud that because of the community, we work with partners out there who supply us those components. Good. Okay.
Yes. And Worth Electronic is one of our larger partner. And the team at Worth Electronic, they will supply us every component that's available on their catalog. And we will take those components trying to help and solve the problem. It's a win-win again, all three party working together. And And so, yes, we do have that. And when you walk into Megalab, Ron, you'll see the whole wall of suppliers, components. You got filters, you got chokes, you got cabling.
XY caps.
Oh, yeah, XY caps, you name it, we got them all. And our job is trying to make it easier for you when you come in there. Everything's available. And that's, again, Megalab's strength.
Of course.
Everything's on the table for you to work with. And you could do some troubleshooting yourself. We'll give you a bench to play with and an oscilloscope and so on. And then once the solution is proposed, we could go to the real McCoy and do some pre-scan. Yeah.
But you have to fine-tune it all. But you're right. There's no easy solution. People think electronics is just like that, you solve it. But there's always interference that you've got to address and different kinds of interferences.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the important stuff.
Yes.
The important stuff is Aurora has such a unique community feel to it. And what's something about the local culture or people that helps you prosper?
I have to give a shout out to people like Angela, Andrew, and of course the mayor Maracas himself. I mean, Aurora has received Megalab, I would say, extremely friendly. I myself, a citizen of Markham, Stouffville. But if I had a choice, this community is just an awesome community. The outreach, Angela and her team, Andrew, have made an impact with Megalab. And we work together with the community. Certainly, I think we bring some value to Aurora by creating high-tech jobs. Hopefully, the mayor is listening to this. We are contributing to the community. But in return, I say Aurora has been a great place. I've been to the other side, on Markham's side, the friendliness of the city, people like you guys, reaching out to people like us, trying to promote each other's and support that. I think that's the key to Aurora, the future success. We're not a stranger to you guys, and you're not a stranger to us.
Right.
And that's the beautiful thing about this ecosystem that we have, found.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable. I find it that way too, that it is very remarkable. There's nothing wrong with the other communities.
Yeah.
It's just that we seem to have gotten the right mix of everything and the right people in place to help out businesses.
Well, people like Angela who reach out to us and welcome us the day we move in. And it was just, it's like you come to a new neighborhood, Ron, and the neighbors came over and say hello to you.
Yeah.
You feel like you're part of that now. And that's what Angela and her team have done for us. And so, I think she's, Aurora's doing a great job. People like her and Andrew and those guys, kudos to them.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
They're super nice people. So that's really what it's all about, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, what's been a surprising challenge that you've faced and how did you overcome it?
I think one of the biggest challenge that we have, Ron, is the recognition of Megalab. Like I said, Megalab itself is fairly new to the community, into the country. Most of the testing done, the all-inclusive lab, are usually done in the United States or overseas in Asia. And in Canada, we do not have this Megalab style where everything's all in one house. And our challenge is trying to get the Canadians who previously go across the border. And combination of Mr. Trump has put a roadblock, helps us in somewhat. And COVID, unfortunately, isolate a lot of people. So. But getting the recognition would be the biggest hurdle for us. In of course, Canada, we always look at each other as a smaller community, smaller player. But we're trying to hope, and we're trying to expand this and educate people that we have a mega lab in Canada, in Toronto, or that we could help them do military testing, automotive industry, high tech like MedTech, telecommunications could be done in one location. No need to cross the border anymore. And,
which is a big bonus.
Well, you know what? Especially, nowadays, right? I mean, look what's happening between the United States and Canada. We have to find solutions here. We have to find independency from the U.S.
And quickly.
And we should. And it's nothing against the Americans are doing great, for the Americans. But as a Canadian, I'm quite proud to be a Canadian. We should build this ecosystem ourselves, and by supplying more tools in Canada, I'm hoping that we would let the other Canadian industry see what we have to offer and educate them. So our challenge is getting people to be aware of what we do here at Megalab.
Yeah, I think our problem is that we've thought North America too much and not global enough. So instead of looking at global industries and how do we sell globally, it was so convenient to sell to the United States that we really didn't have to look at the rest of the world. And the way things have evolved lately, we've come to the conclusion that we have to be more self-sufficient. I mean, COVID is a classic example. When you couldn't get rubber gloves or masks or anything else out of Canada, you had to rely on China or Vietnam or India for them. It was quite problematic for controlling the disease if you can't protect the medical people and so on who are looking after the sick people.
I agree, Ron.
And
we're one of the G7. We should able to provide and sustain everything that we have here. And Canada is such a natural, rich country. We have so much to offer to the world. So
well, it was so easy. It was low-hanging fruit to do.
Yes.
And I think human nature is what it is. You take the easiest path most of the time. Everyone does that. And but we've learned, and we'll move on from here. Hopefully, our political leadership will look at that and try to take action. One thing that I was pleased to hear is the agreement we signed with Germany, where we're going to upgrade the port in Churchill, Manitoba, and put a liquid natural gas facility there so we could export that to Europe, which is a smart idea. And gradually we should be able to move product from east to west without provincial barriers or without any issues at all.
I think it's time for us Canadians to move forward. And,
Absolutely.
It's good timing. I mean, for whatever it's worth, it's time.
Yes,
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, and I'm kind of happy about that. But anyway, so another question: if you could collaborate with any local business leaders in Aurora or York region, who would it be, and what would you love to create together?
We're in a high-tech business. We're in a high-tech developments. Some of the Canadian products are built by Canadians are quite remarkable. And so therefore, I would love to collaborate with more of the Canadian high-tech communities. An example is AMD, right now, backyard. And we would love to sit down with a company like them or even smaller company, Wolf Advanced Technology, another great example. We need to sit together and discuss how can we help each other? What can we leverage against? And perhaps that's a conversation that we should get the government at both municipal and provincial level to host this ecosystem for all of us. I just think that there's a lot more we could do with the high-tech industry. One of the challenges that I see where I live right now, because my home is in Stouffville, not to knock that town, because but we could use more high tech in there. It's time for us to again make advancements in the technology. I had a chance to travel to Asia several times for the last few years, and I seen rapidly how fast they have advanced. It makes us look so primitive, Ron. And as a Canadian, I'm quite ashamed that. How could a G7 country like Canada is so far behind in technology that we need to see the other side of the world? This is a global system now, not a national level. This is a global. We don't work just in Canada alone. We work everywhere now.
Yeah.
So therefore, we need to follow the rest of the world and be in the same, toe-to-toe with them. And so Asia is so far advanced that we have yet to catch up. And I would love to see that community here in Canada come together with the support of the governments, and let's be let's be the best of Canada, a Canadian as we could be. And I believe that because our natural resources rich country, I think we have a lot to offer to the rest of the world in a high tech.
I agree with you there. I think we have this idea that everyone is smarter than us in the world, and that's a falsehood. We have very intelligent, competent people in this country. It's just a question of having some kind of assistance and focus to do that.
We have some of the best education system in the world. I mean, we got so many educated individuals coming out of university. You got engineers, you got doctors, lawyers, you got everybody that's coming well educated, and I can't understand why we're so far behind. And you're talking about, let's say, automotive sector like EVs or non-existent almost, huh? We should be making our own EV. Yeah. We should be making our own medical devices. We should be making high advanced military application. Like those are stuff we could be working on because we have the know-how. We have the people. We got
I think it's a question of well, first of all, government assistance is mandatory. You need government assistance to cut through it. And I think the new administration has said they're going to cut some of this red tape to move forward. Now, hopefully they will do that. We won't know yet for a while. But Canadians, like North Americans too, are afraid of technology, I think. One example, I did a podcast with a company called STEM Minds. And what they're trying to do is educate youngsters into technology and electronics and so on. And they were saying, we were talking about AI, how in Asia they've been working with AI now for a good many years, where here everyone, all they do is talk about the dangers of AI instead of the advantages of AI. And we've got to sort of stop thinking that way.
Agree.
Because if AI is going to be the future, quantum computing is going to be the future. We have opportunities working in those areas because of our education, because of labs such as yours, that we could be missing a good opportunity.
Oh, for sure, Ron. Listen, either you embrace it or you're going to get lost in this, right? You're going to be falling behind the race. So technology like AI is a tool. We should not be afraid of it. We should make use of it and embrace it. It's something that you couldn't stop anyhow. It's like internet when it first came out, right? I mean, people were scared when computer first came out. I remember back in the 80s, when the computer came out, people are afraid they're going to lose the job and all that. It never happened. We just got to embrace how to use the computer and how to use the internet. And here we are today, looking back 30 years, hey, it's part of my life, part of your life. I think AI one day, 30 years from now, I assume we're going to be still around and we're going to say, you know what, well, now it's part of my life too.
Oh, no, it won't take 30 years. It'll happen real quick. You know what I'm impressed with, and this is not kind of what we're talking about, but not really, is drones.
Oh, yes.
5 years ago, drones were nothing, really.
Yeah.
But the Russian-Ukraine conflict has shown the advantage of a product that's relatively inexpensive and not compromising human lives in that kind of environment.
I have a couple of, actually, at least two client of ours making drones in Ontario.
Good.
I am surprised I don't see more. And as you said, that's a technology that we don't have to use it for killing people. But certainly it's a tool we could use for the police enforcement, national security, or even application like agricultural or the wild forest fire. You could use drones to communicate.
Absolutely. Yeah, they go to the north, especially Canada. We've got so much forest land that to be able to bring a drone out, and if they can map the earth underneath it to find out where minerals are as well, it's a lot less costly than trying to get people going through the bush when there's no roads and going through rivers and so on, because we have lakes and rivers in this country all over the place. So the technology is, you're right, it's not just for warfare, it's for so many other things.
For sure.
One thing I've always wondered why we don't do this more, and I'm not knowledgeable enough to be able to have a solution, is dirigibles, these lighter than air craft that don't need roads. Like, for example, in the far north, we have settlements that are only accessible in the winter when you have ice roads going up there.
Yeah.
But the rest of the year, you can't get through the tundra to get to these places. And
I think, no, that's a challenge. I mean, that's a bigger problem, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But you do need pioneers. You need entrepreneurs to see through all this. And we need leaders to drive that.
Yes.
So, and we have not seen too many of that neither. I'll be honest with you. But hopefully, someone will see this one day. And it's just like us being a lab, Megalab. They didn't exist. We just need to sit down together and put it together and say, listen, we don't know what we're getting into. And to be honest with you, when I started back in 2018 with Megalab, the idea and concept, I was told by some of the industry leaders say, no, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because, there's too many things happening, too many obstacles. So if you listen to all those negativities, we won't do anything, right? So you need someone who's either with a strong conviction or kind of stupid to go do something crazy like what we have done.
Yeah, I guess you need someone at the upper echelons of politics, of governing the country, that's got some kind of vision as to where as a country we should go. And I think
need a strong leader.
Yeah. Something strong. A lot of times politicians are very good at being politicians, but they're not technocrats, so they don't quite understand the complexities of some of these things and the advantages also.
We need a strong leader on, as being a father, myself, me and you, I assume your father as well. Being a strong father, you could guide your children to a certain directions, but if you don't guide your kids, and often kids could get lost in the social media or
Absolutely.
peer pressures and so on. And I think that applies to a country. If we don't have a strong leaders to guide us to the proper directions, we often sit and complain about what not to do.
Exactly.
And we don't end up doing anything, right? So
and then we get overtaken by other places. I mean, we have a country of 40 million people, which is a nice size.
Beautiful.
I mean, we're not as big as India or China or the United States, but we're bigger than a lot of European countries, a lot of South American countries. So
this could be one of the greatest country, and I think it is still the greatest country in the planet. Canada is my home, and I think I'm very fortunate and quite proud to be a Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
I just think we have so much to do in Canada that making this our next generation a better place for them, and hopefully they think the same way and make a better place for their next
and help
generations.
them to understand the technologies as well is critical, because they're going to be the designers of the future. So
I think technology is going to help them. They need to embrace that first.
Oh yeah.
And like you said earlier, we cannot be afraid of technology like AI. We need to embrace it, work with it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid of it.
Yeah, because it'll help us when we get old and we need medical care and so on.
Yes.
Okay. If you could give one piece of advice to someone thinking of starting or growing business such as yours not a lab necessarily, but a tech industry in Aurora, what would it be? What kind of advice do you think that people should know?
Well, the advice I would give if someone's about to start the business in Aurora is that connect with communities, as what we have done, and reach out to the city and people like yourself, and communicate to the audience out there that you exist. My biggest challenge earlier was getting recognition for Megalab.
Yeah,
so I think that's the biggest challenge for any company: sell their product, get people to know about your product or your services. You got to get out there. So that my friendly advice is that you got to go out there and network with the people, talk to them, and listen to the audience, listen to your buyers and your suppliers and so on. So you can't be doing this alone in a little cubicle somewhere, and that often leads you nowhere, right? But by getting out there, let people know who you are, what you do, and what service or product you offer. That would be my friendly advice.
Okay, good. Well, are you a member of the Chamber of Commerce?
Yes, we are.
Okay, good.
Yes.
That's a good starting point. I found that the Chamber of Commerce in Aurora, because that's the only one I know of, have been very active over the years and very helpful for businesses just to get out there. They have open houses at different places and good communication back and forth. So it's a great organization to belong to. Yeah.
No, one of our, Sureyas Dasika, one of our member, is in the Chamber of Commerce, and he's doing a great job. I know he's connecting with the people like yourself and the rest of them. He's trying to promote the company itself. It also built the community network. I also believe in also building a stronger connections on a personal level and, of course, the company level as well. And the more we get involved with, I think to help each other. Not just our company, not just himself, but also the community. Everyone wins again in this case.
Yeah, it's a mindset that a lot of groups of people work together and they all succeed. But some groups are nervous about talking to other people and giving them ideas, so they compete with the collaborators instead of working with them, and that's unfortunate.
Yes, it is.
Stop you from growing. So
listen, got to get out there and do your thing. So I got to network with people. You're not going to please everybody, but however, hopefully you'll please most of them. So.
Yeah, and that's really what you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay. In closing, I want to congratulate you for creating an enterprise that benefits our new and existing high-tech business. We need that in this town. When I started my business, as I mentioned to you before, the Canadian Standards Association was the enterprise that controlled the ability of a company to bring a product to the marketplace. And it was very difficult dealing with them because they were so rigid in their attitudes that it didn't work too well. I don't think. And in most cases, it was a frustrating and costly pass-fail kind of procedure. Startups don't have the resources to support the purchases of costly testing equipment, which we talked about before. And finding qualified engineers was also a challenge. It's not only buying the equipment, but having someone that knows how to run it is probably more important than the equipment. But still, both of those are costly. And it appears that you've solved this bottleneck. Now, how could we go about attracting more high-tech companies that need the level of sophistication that you can offer?
I think this is where the city and us work together would benefit everybody. Networking with the high-tech, perhaps create this ecosystem around, and this is something that the Commerce of Aurora could do, or perhaps the mayor could lead more initiative in promoting Aurora. We sent a few startup company to the city of Aurora. We're hoping to attract those individuals or companies to come to this community. So our objective is trying to promote this thing through with you guys and ourselves and make some more noise. That's the name of the game. Aurora is still a smaller municipality as compared to Toronto.
Oh,
and,
yes.
And Megalab still small compared to other international companies. But I think we are quite unique in the sense that we have strength. And you guys got great, grassroots in this community here. Aurora's got a lot of talents. You got a lot of engineers and professionals living in this community.
Yes.
And we feel that, this is our strength by providing this pool of talents and providing this hub of Megalab facility. I think we could be a significant player. Reaching out to the East Coast and West Coast, let people in Nova Scotia or British Columbia know that we have this place right in Canada. Why not give us a second look at it, see what we could offer versus going to the United States or going to Asia for this type of developments and testing?
Yeah, and the fear of going to Asia is that they'll steal your ideas. That's I don't know how real that is. We heard some dialogue at one time about China stealing patents from the United States.
Yeah.
And that's all smoke and mirrors. A lot of people don't realize that patents are country specific. So if you have a patent in the United States, it doesn't apply in China or India or anywhere else. You need patents in China, you need patents in India. So as soon as you publish your technology, you have to do that when you get a patent. They can steal it if they only use it in their own country, but they're not stealing it. It's common knowledge.
Yeah, no, I don't know the politics and the optic behind all that, Ron. Yes, I heard those stories too myself in the high-tech community.
Has.
Yeah, I'm sure that's been around. I really don't know the truth behind it. However, what I do know is that it's harder to communicate with China because time differences and languages. And of course, the cost of shipping and so on, getting people there. And of course, United States, you're dealing with the currency exchange, and now you're dealing with the tariff exchange. So there's a lot more to it.
Yes.
And we're talking about how to create this ecosystem in Canada to self-sustain and then trading with the rest of the world. Well, we got to start somewhere. And Megalab's being part of the tool in helping Canadian high-tech industries, and develop the products.
Yes,
And
yes.
I'm hoping that, that would be the case right across, more exposure, more, let them know. And
Get the word out. And
get the words out.
Yeah.
So we're excited to continue with this in the city of Aurora here. And I see a bright future for the company and, of course, the people who are behind me. We're excited. And there's so many things that we could do. And just not enough time in a day to do everything.
I know, unfortunately. But at least we keep trying.
We will keep trying.
And we will succeed in time. Garry, in closing, on behalf of the citizens of Aurora and York region, I want to thank you and wish you every success. And if ever we could be of assistance or I could be of assistance to you, let me know.
Thank you very much for having me here today.
Oh, my pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Take care.